Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Nuzla Abdul Halim again, ready to report on some of the GBV cases across the world. So please ensure to subscribe, like, comment and share across. Guys, I think all of us have witnessed some changes in the global international system or global system in general. We've seen different protests from different countries. We started with Brazil, and now previously I've seen Liberia, and now India. So I'd like us to dwell into this protest and talk about them and see what are some of the demands that have been put forth by these protestants and what are some of the things that they are actually trying to curb in their particular countries. So beginning with Liberian protest, we've seen that young Liberians have marched demanding for stronger government action on rape cases and sexual gender-based violence cases. So they marched on their streets of Sinkor on the 13th of March, and their main purpose was to curb rising rates of sexual gender-based violence. Their demands were quite clear because if you look into how SGBV cases are in the, GBV had been made a national emergency 5 years before, and it was on the 2015, if I am not wrong. So now they're trying to demand is that the officials are supposed to show results in court, police work, and in services for survivors. They need action coming from this government. I mean, cases are growing. The prevalence of the growth of these GBV cases is quite extreme, and they do not see any action taking place. So what they are requesting for the government officials to do is to ensure that these cases are actually presented on the court and justice is served to the victims. So the main issue again was that they've seen, despite it being declared as a national emergency, the cases of SGBV still persist. They even ended up handing a petition. This petition where now they were demanding for answers as of why, even after 5 years of the declaration of SGBV as a national emergency, why the GBV cases still persist and still keep on rising. Because if you look into some of the statistics, it is said that they have experienced a 17% increase or rise in the SGBV cases in just a year. Yes. So, and mind you, as usual, this is the smallest fraction of these recorded SGBV cases because due to some obstacles or some other reasons, women, or let me not say women, sorry, let me say general, like victims, they fail to report their attacks. So just to expound further, let me just, or not to expound, but just to mention them in a fast way. Let me talk of some of the demands that were quite specific from these Liberian Protestants. First and foremost, they demanded for a fast-track rape and sodomy cases. Yes, they wanted everything to be tracked in the best way and presented in the court and ensure that these courts actually ensure justice or serve justice to the victims that have undergone such cases. Again, they wanted an expanded DNA and forensic services to all the 15 counties present in Liberia. Yes. Another demand was that they wanted trained medical technicians to use forensic equipment. I don't get it. Rape cases happen, but then DNA tests are weak, or training of these forensic or maybe forensic equipment are not enough in the hospitals. It doesn't make any sense, because if we really want to know the victims, perpetrators, we really have to improvise on these equipment, right? Anywho, these people proceed. They demanded for a strengthening Liberian National Police enforcement. You see, it's actually a tragic thing because most of our countries out here, they have the law enforcement is very weak. And everyone, every organization, every individual, every activist is advocating for these national police enforcement to be stronger than they are right now. Okay, again, they also advocated for safe homes. I mean, they should be expanded for survivors, because, they only place survivors if they feel that courage. I mean, if they are pumped up with such a courage, they will need safe homes. Because honestly speaking, as we said, the home is now alluded as the most dangerous place. So maybe even the perpetrator is present in that home. So telling the victim to go back to their places is going to be a very difficult decision for them. So they protested, they advocated for an expansion of safe homes in that particular country. Again, they've also advocated for an inclusion of young people in the national GBV policy discussions. Gen Zs, we are vocal, yes, and we have a habit of bringing anger to the table, but we are the ones to provide for for the solutions of such problems. If a Gen Z is put into a negotiation table, or is put in the table of discussion, they will contribute effectively, unlike a millennial. Millennials, they are kind of tired right now, you see. So Gen Zs, or let me just say the youth, the younger generation, they are needed in these discussion tables in order to ensure that the GBV concern is combated, you see. So the Liberians were so clear, they were so conspicuous on some of their demands, and I think these are the best demands ever. If the Liberian government is actually going to consider all of this, I think the cases over there will depreciate. So moving forward now from Liberians' protest to the Indian protest. The Indian protest did not only comprise of demands, demands were there, of course, because after an atrocity has been committed, of course, people will urge the government to do away with this case and make sure that the survivor has achieved their justice. So they'll, of course, demand for the perpetrator to be arrested and all those other things. The perpetrator has to undergo his own penalty or his own charges. So what happened in India was there was an ex-lover. There's a 17-year-old girl who is a wife to a husband, okay? But she previously had a lover, okay? Before getting married to this husband, he basically had a boyfriend, let me say that. So I don't know what happened. They must be having a very big beef with each other. But then, despite having the husband, the lady was at home, okay? She ended up leaving the door open, and the husband, together with the father-in-law, was asleep. So I think she was kind of feeling hot or something, so she left the door open. That was like an incentive to the ex-lover to enter into the house, kidnap the lady, go and rape her. You see, he got inside, took the girl, raped her, and then went to hang her on a pole, wrapping her up with ropes, and then displaying her on the rope like nothing. Yes, so what happened? The society witnessed such a crime, because she was literally hanged on a pole, naked, and you could literally see that this woman has been raped. It's quite tragic and unfortunate, by the way. Even if you chose to do such a crime, why not return her back in a good state? Why display her to everyone? Everyone see all of her parts, and seeing that they are in a very critical condition. It's quite tragic. Anyways, after the villagers had witnessed such a thing, they now called the police station. The police station arrived there. The lady was taken home by the husband. She sat down. Now the investigators, they tried to inquire, to maybe the neighbors, because a at such a position, you cannot really confront the victim and demand for some information. You have to allow them to you have to give them some space, because maybe their mental health is kind of disrupted. So after the inquisitive session, it was alluded that it was known that the perpetrator of this was the ex-lover. But the police, mind you, they couldn't take the initiative to arrest him because they needed a statement from the victim herself. So the inspector called the husband and wanted the lady to go and make a statement. They did go, luckily, and the lady confirmed that she was raped by her ex-lover. What happened next was the man was arrested by the inspectors, and now he is presented to the court for his trial. I am just hoping that he is going to be arrested, because the inspectors have done a very good job. What had happened, first and foremost, this woman has been submitted to a hospital for medical examination because of anything. They have to check on the STIs, they have to check on the defilement, they have to check on whether she has been raped, or those kinds of injuries. She has to undergo the medical examination. So that was the first good thing that was done by the inspectors or the police station. Second thing, most articles have been invoked, and this is the best part of this case. Section 4, Penetrative Sexual Assault of the Protection of Children from Sexual Offense Act, the POCSO, was invoked. Remember, I talked of this in my Indian laws and some of the cases unattended, part 1, POCSO Act. So that was first. That was one of the articles that was invoked. Second, which was the second section that was invoked, was section 137(2), the action or the crime of kidnapping the woman. 3, section 333, trespassing. The ability, the courage of that man entering into the house, trespassing, entering into the house, and then kidnapping the lady. Those are different crimes which have their own punishment in the Indian law. And the last section which has been, or article which has been invoked, is section 64, Roman 1, the article of rape crime. So after all of these have been invoked, I am hoping that this man serves the penalty in the best way possible. Everyone, these cases, they are growing even more rampant. If we choose to remain silent, they will keep on growing, and most people will suffer from these perpetrators. I am urging all of you to stand up, fight, talk, speak out about these things, and ensure that these cases reduce in number. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. Please ensure to subscribe, like, and